Hi, viewers. Hi to all Gunners fans around the world. Hi to all football enthusiasts all around the world. I'm mighty glad to be able to do this podcast today. And today we are going to look at the major highlights of match day 11. And trust me, there was so much highlights this last weekend, and and of course, as an Arsenal fan, we finally came right down to earth after an amazing run of 10 straight wins and 8 clean sheets. This weekend, that very, very impressive run came to an end. Of course, the fact that we drew at the Stadium of Light against Sunderland. Now, this is part of what we're going to discuss. Now, if you do like this video, if you do like our content, if you do like our podcast, please do press the like button and do subscribe. It's of course free. Subscribe so we can that will help us bring you better content. So without much ado, we're going to look at just a few select matches that could impact or that will impact Arsenal's title chances. We're taking each game. We're taking each game as it comes. It's not easy being at the top. You have to deal with all sorts of pressure. You have to deal with you have to concentrate as players. You have to concentrate as the manager. There is no room for error. So it's not a very, very easy situation to be in. So the first match we're going to look at, and we're going to look at it and see how it impacted on our title chances, is the match, the weekend opener, a match between Tottenham Hotspur versus Manchester United. Now, this was a very tricky match for people to predict. It wasn't easy to predict. We didn't know what Tottenham Hotspur would show up. Of course, Manchester United in recent games, they have picked up momentum. They have won 3 and drew 1, and which of course earned their coach, Ruben Amorim, the coach of the last month of October. And so this match started. It was an early kickoff match, and Mbeumo opened up the scoring for Manchester United. I think in the 32nd minute, Manchester United was quite dominant. They pushed, they pressed in the first half. But the second half was a different story entirely. Tottenham Hotspur came back to the game through Matthias Tel. It was a very good deflected shot, and that equalized it. Then in stoppage time of the game, Richarlison thought he had won it. Richarlison thought he had won the game, only for Matthew de Ligt to score a last-second header and equalize the game and salvage a point for Manchester United. So now this game was the reason why a lot of Tottenham fans are disgruntled at the moment is because Manchester United went down to 10 men. It was an enforced situation for them because Benjamin Sesko, I think he developed some kind of injury. He couldn't even continue. He went straight to the tunnel. And at this point, Manchester United had already exhausted all their changes. So Manchester United played with 10 men. And this was 2-1 at the tail end of the game with that Richarlison goal. Of course, they were bailed out by set piece, this time from a corner kick, which the Leeds duly converted, a very powerful header. Perhaps you could say the keeper was kind of at fault. I saw it and I thought the keeper should have done better. So this game ended 2-2 draw. So now, how did this game affect us as Arsenal fans? Now, this game didn't really affect us because nobody won. If Tottenham had run away with the lead, if they had won this game, they would probably have been about 4 points behind us. And of course, they are the team we play next after the international break. So, yes, this game didn't affect us so much. Like I said, Manchester United garnered momentum. They've been playing really well. We are not going to forget that they won Liverpool about 3 weeks ago, which was very, very impressive result for them. And that gave them a lot of confidence. They've gone on a very good run. And, like I said, we don't want those people anywhere around us. We don't want Manchester United, Tottenham anywhere around us. Let's know we're dealing with Liverpool and Manchester City and some of the smaller clubs that are around it. So, like I said, this game did not impact us so much. So the next game I'm going to go for is the game between Chelsea and Wolverhampton Wanderers. So this was a tricky game for Chelsea. Not forgetting that Chelsea they dropped points in the Champions League in midweek against lowly Karabakh, and Karabakh is in Kazakhstan, so everybody expected a routine 3 points win for Chelsea, but that wasn't the case. Karabakh played the game of their life. In fact, they almost won that game. They almost won that game, Chelsea came back. It was 2-1 at some point. I know Garnacho scored the winner, the equalizer. Then they played out a 2-2 draw. So that being said, Chelsea faced a Wolverhampton side that just fired their manager after 10 games without a single win. That was a very, very dreadful strings of results for Wolverhampton Wanderers. And I thought the coach they sacked, Victor Pereira, I think he's a very good coach. I don't know what happened. I don't think they strengthened enough in the summer window. I don't think in the summer transfer window. I don't think they strengthened enough. In fact they look weaker after losing the likes of Cunha and the other guy that went to Manchester City. These were their standout players, So I don't think they strengthened enough. So it was no surprise when at the end of the game, Chelsea won this game by 3-0. The first goal was scored by Malo Gusto. The second goal was scored by João Pedro. He finally, came out of his goal drought and scored one after a very long time. And this happened to be João Pedro's 100th appearance in the Premier League. So congratulations to him. He scored on that day. And the third goal was scored by none other than Pedro Neto. Of course, he scored against his former team and made it 3-0. And this was a result everybody expected. Nobody expected Wolves to give Chelsea any kind of upsets. Though in the first half, Wolves gave a very good account of themselves. But in the second half, it was another story. Once that Malo Gusto's goal went in, you knew this was going to end up in a rout, and it was a 3 nil defeat. It was a 3-0 win for Chelsea, rather. Now, how does this game affect us? Of course, Chelsea is one of the teams that that were dubbed to be the surprise title contenders this season. And of course, we're not going to forget, they won the Club World Cup. They won the Club World Cup in June. And so, of course, because the way they won it, of course, they won PSG in the final. The way they won it, everybody was like, okay, Chelsea is going to be in contention for the Premier League, title this season. And, but so far this season, after 11 games, Chelsea has been blowing hot and cold. This game, they're good. Next game, they're really bad. Next game, they are mediocre. So, it's just been a case of inconsistency for Chelsea Football Club. And as an Arsenal fan, I will hope that inconsistency continues. In fact, I hope they lose their way and lose more matches. I'm sorry, but look, this year is a make or break for Arsenal. So like I said, this game impacted us because Chelsea, whom before this match day were 8 points behind Arsenal. Now after match day 11, they gained 2 points against us. They are close, but it's still 6 points, 6 points behind. So I'm not gonna be too worried about Chelsea at the moment. There are other teams to be worried about. They wear blue. They wear a blue jersey, sky blue jersey. That's the team I am worried about at the moment. So the next game is none other than our game with Sunderland in the Stadium of Light. Of course, Sunderland, they have been the most improved promoted team this season. And of course, they are captained by our former captain, Granit Xhaka. And he has been very, very decent for them this season. They play with a lot of passion, especially at their home. They are very, very good at home. And of course, they have very, very robust players, hard workers. And this was shown in our game with them from the opening whistle. I think for about 30 minutes, we didn't have a shot at their goal. We didn't have a shot, not even on target. We didn't have a shot whatsoever. They were all over us. They were charged. The crowd was really behind them. Every ball was contested. They were, very, very ready for us. And of course, they came with a very, very clear game plan. Be compact in defense and hit us on the counter. That was what they were going to do. I'm not going to say they played the low block all through, but they were very, very defense conscious and they worked very hard. It didn't help that the referee, to me, had a horrible game. He was always, whenever the home team screamed, he just gave in to them. Most of the decisions went against us. And the same kind of fouls or the same kind of contact he never blew against them when it was our turn. So I thought the referee had a really, really bad game, and that frustrated me a lot. So it's not surprised that Sunderland, of course, they broke the dog. They scored the opening goal, and this opening goal was scored by a former Arsenal academy player, Dan Ballard. I remember when he was in our academy, he was a defender. Then he looked so skinny, but now I see him, he's all puffed up and all big and very aggressive. I don't know, but he's a very good player now. He scored the opening goal, very, very nice goal. controlled with his right leg and put in a shot with the left. The keeper had no chance. It was kind of a Declan Rice fault, but I'm not gonna blame him too much. If he had been more aggressive, he would have probably caused a penalty. So they took the lead, and so it ended 1-0 in the first half. The second half, of course, Arsenal regrouped, and immediately Bukayo Saka equalized for us. There was a loose ball from midfield. Declan Rice won the ball in midfield, gave it to, passed the ball to Merino. Merino who then squared it to Bukayo Saka, and he took a very nice low shot with his weaker right foot, and that did the damage, and we scored. The second goal we scored was a bullet from Leandro Trossard. Fantastic goal. I've not seen us score a goal like that in a while. Most of our goals are in the box. We usually don't score goals from outside the box 18, the box. And so this was a very welcome development when Leandro Trossard rifled the ball, and it was, the keeper had no chance. It was like a bullet. So it was 2-1. From then, I think in the second half, we dominated. I think we dominated in the second half. I think we were really good in the second half. Don't forget that Zubimendi hit the post. There were some good plays, But one thing was obvious in our play. Without Victor Gyökeres causing problems for the opposition defense, we were kind of bereft of ideas in front. Because Gyökeres takes a lot of space. He takes a lot of defenders with him. I think about 2 or 3 mark him all the time. So there's always space for the other players, But Mikel Merino is not that kind of player. Mikel Merino didn't quite... He gave an assist, which is good, but he didn't quite... I don't think he had a very good game. But I'm not going to blame him. He's not a natural striker. He's a good striker. He's not a natural striker, but he could be dangerous. So our heart was pierced in the 93rd minute when some guy called Brian Brobby robbed us of all 3 points. Now, this goal, people have been calling out Arteta, blaming Arteta, saying Arteta was at fault for bringing in a defender. No, and I vehemently disagree with that. This goal wouldn't have happened if our keeper had stayed on his line. If our keeper had stayed on his line, he would have caught that ball easily. Now, because already Gabriel Magalhaes was with Brian Brobby, and he was marking him. So the way Brian Brobby played that ball was the only way he could play it, even if the keeper had been in his post. Our keeper didn't need to rush out. Raya didn't need to rush out. I blame Raya for this goal, not Mikel Arteta, not the other defenders. This happens. It was a lot of pressure. These guys were pumping balls into our box. These guys were fearless. They were energetic. Don't forget their coach brought in 3 attack-minded players. In the final 10 minutes, he brought in 3 attack-minded players. They felt they could get a result here. They felt, and they did get it. And I put my hand up for Sunderland. They played a very good game. They gave a good account of themselves. And we can only look at ourselves and feel this game was a missed opportunity to extend our lead. So now, this game, we got 1 point. 1 point is better than no points. But in this league, it's almost like you have to win all your games and give considerable gap to the chasers. That's the only way to win this league. This league is a difficult league. So dropping points, I know Sunderland has been very good, but dropping points against Sunderland at this time of the season wasn't a good result in my opinion. But we're still going to take that 1 point. Maybe Arsenal of old could have lost this game. Arsenal of old wouldn't have had the character to score and take the lead in this game. So yes, this game ended 2-2. Now, the next game I'm going to talk about is the game between Manchester City and Liverpool. This was the game of the weekend. This was the game all Arsenal fans were most interested in. This was the game everybody had a preference for who they wanted to win. I wanted a draw. But when I looked at the way Manchester City has been playing, and I looked at the way Liverpool has been playing, I didn't see Liverpool having any chance at all. I didn't see Liverpool having any single chance. In fact, I went on FanDuel and I placed about $150 on this game. And yes, I won quite a sizable amount of money. And, and it was no surprise that Man City won this game 3-0. Now, before the game, people were going to say, oh, Erling Haaland will be the man to destroy Liverpool. No, it wasn't Erling Haaland. It was Doku. It was Jeremy Doku. Doku was unrecognizable today. Doku was tormenting the Liverpool right fullback, Conor Bradley. Doku was playing like Messi today. And he capped it off with a lovely 25-yard rifle. A beautiful shot. Don't forget it cost a penalty, which Erling Haaland lost. He missed the penalty, sorry. And, it was just from beginning to the end, it was total dominance from Manchester City. Liverpool were very unrecognizable. It was like, is this the Liverpool that won Manchester City home and away last season? They didn't look the same. They didn't look the same at all. This Manchester City was like the Manchester City of old. Even the Manchester City of old, they don't breeze past Liverpool like that. It usually ends in draws or maybe a solitary 1-0 win. But this game was just so different. Liverpool was bereft of ideas. They had no answer. The only game plan they had was give the ball to Mohamed Salah. Pass the ball to Mohamed Salah. Mohamed Salah doesn't have the legs no more. He doesn't have the legs no more. And this Manchester City players, they were all up for it. The crowd was the noisiest it's been in a while. Like I said, Liverpool had no answer. And I didn't understand why Gakpo didn't start. I thought he should have started. I know he wanted to load up his midfield, but I thought Gakpo should have started this game. So, like we said, Manchester City won the game 3-0 from goals from Erling Haaland. Gonzalez doubled the lead, and Jeremy Doku with that wonderful effort. And I'm kind of okay with the results because we have put a considerable considerable lead with Liverpool. Let's know it's only Manchester City we're facing as Arsenal. That is how this game impacts our season. We are in a title race against Manchester City. Manchester City is second. They are 4 points behind us. 4 points is still not too much games, like even them, they're under pressure too. If anything happens to Erling Haaland, who's going to score their goals for them? They're going to play false nine? No. So they are under pressure too. Every game in the EPL is a final. Every team plays like it's a final. Every team plays like their life depends on it. So anything can happen. For me, I wasn't impressed with the draw. I thought we could have saw our lead out. I thought we had enough to have won that game against Sunderland. Don't forget we missed a lot of chances. We missed a lot of chances in the second half. That is something we have to discuss another day. And of course, we have almost all our forward players are injured. But the good thing is that I think the international break came at a good time. We can use this period to regroup, and hopefully some of the injured players can come back so that we can boost our squad depth. I don't think it's the end of the world, but we've gotten used to winning so much in the past 2 months or so that this felt really bad. Like I said, we were brought back to earth. So we go into the international break, 4 points clear of Manchester City with how good they've been. We're still ahead of them. And we go to the international break and come back and see what happens. Now, another thing I want to talk about is Nigeria versus Gabon in the World Cup qualifier. I'll be out here watching that game, and I will bring you some content and some analysis on that game. That game is a do or die for every Nigerian. Of course, I'm proudly Nigerian, and I wish and pray that Nigeria wins and makes it to the World Cup. Now, that will be all on the Arsenal Alchemy. I will. There will be some kind of changes in my scheduling. It's gonna be every 2 days. I will record every 2 days. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and it's bye for now.